All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, home of the Raising Cane's River Center and site of the 2017 USBC Queens. My name is Emil Williams Jr. Big thank you to all of our viewers for watching. Alongside Aaron Smith and Jason Thomas this week. We're just underway again, round number 1, A squad qualifying. It'll be 5 games. Each squad, 15 games total, 3 rounds of qualifying, and then of course we'll roll into match play in the top 64. Your defending champion, Bernice Lim. She is automatically seeded into the top 64. So she has the ability, of course, to utilize qualifying in a way that perhaps some of the other competitors don't. Meaning, if she happens to be struggling, not being able to find the right look, she can spend some time trying to figure out the best solution. That is certainly the benefit of being the defending champion. We're behind lanes 27 and 28, along with 29 and 30. Megan Kelly on 3 in a row. She is joined by Jennifer Russo and Nicole Bauer on 29 and 30. Sandy Charles, Brittany Himmelreich, and Melanie Crawford. 3 to a pair. There are a few pairs that have 4 bowlers. And so theoretically, should be done relatively quick with each round. Of course, fantastic venue, home of the USBC Women's Championships. That is ongoing. Of course, a little bit of a break for the Queens. The Senior Queens will be contested next week. That will get going. I believe practice starts Tuesday on the 23rd. Competition will begin on the 24th of May. That will be held at Circle Bowl here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Those of you, of course, who are familiar with how we do things on Extra Frame, there'll be a few live now posts where you can join the conversation, if you will. Good shot there from Megan Kelly. First shot in the 10th. You know, Megan watched her a little bit during practice yesterday, and she had a pretty good look on this pattern. Of course, this week's oil condition. 41 feet, 27.78 milliliters of oil. This week's conditioner, the Kegel Fire. Big thanks to Kegel, of course, the official lane maintenance provider. PWBA and USBC events, of course. The USBC Queens, a PWBA Tour event. First major of the season. And it is here 3 weeks have gone by. 3 standard events, of course. Full day on Tuesday of show taping. Hold on ball. And Kelly makes the spare. Couple of strings so far here. You see across the 44-lane venue. Holly Ann Johansson from Wichita State. Striking the first, open in the second. And has rattled off the back 7. She is on lane 21. Megan Kelly in the books with 199. 197 for Nicole Bauer. And 193 for Jennifer Russo. 3 190 games. Mentioned Holly Ann. She left a 4-pin in the 10th frame. 29 and 30 into the 10th frame as well. Sandy Charles, 9 spare. Strike will give her 165. Josie Ernest Barnes out the gates with 255. That may be unfamiliar for some. Josie recently married. Sandy Charles 154. $152 for Melanie Crawford to start. just like that, game 1 is in the books. Don't forget, folks, I may have mentioned this already. If I didn't, a couple places this weekend to check out your results. Live scoring this week as well, along with all of your results for qualifying. And then ultimately, when we get into bracket play, you can check that out at bowl.com/Queens. Again, bowl.com/Queens. You can also check it out on pwba.com, of course, /live. You can also click right to the homepage, pwba.com. If you followed our first few events, you'll know that the homepage slider will greet you when you reach the website. And you'll click there for coverage and results as well. So everything you need. You can also visit just the schedule page as well on pwba.com also. All right, game 2, new pair, Rebecca O'Connor, Emily Peterson, and Samantha Shade. That's who hit the lanes on 27 and 28. All right, on 29 and 30, Taylor Boltice, Lori Eskew, and Madeline McDuff. As we begin game number 2. Again, A squad qualifying round number 1 here at the USBC Queens. Taylor Boltice very familiar with this building and this establishment. course, bowls collegiately for Weber. Bowled collegiately for Weber International. Finished off a great career. Made both the singles championships, intercollegiate singles, as well as, of course, the intercollegiate team championships. Not every day you get to bowl on TV a couple times. Most recently, as Aaron Smith can attest, had some success here at the USBC Women's Championships as well.
She certainly did, Emil. It was actually just yesterday here at the Raising Cane's River Center. Taylor put on a show in the singles event, taking over the event's diamond singles lead. They have quite a few divisions at the Women's Championships, all designated by gemstones. But Taylor got off to a strong start in singles, 278 out of the gates. She continued that with a 226 and 242 for a 746 series to move into the top spot. Pretty impressive, not only just in general, but considering a lot of the top players tend to bowl the Women's Championships right before Queens, especially when it's held here in the same facility, a chance to knock out two birds with one stone, if you will. Not only the opportunity to compete at the Women's Championships, 98 years of history there, but also a chance to get familiar with the facility. And for Taylor, she said obviously found the success collegiately with Weber at the ITCs and ISCs back in April, and so just kind of feels like home for her. Reminds her a lot of the Kegel Training Center, where her and her Weber International teammates practice on a daily basis. But said after a few runner-up finishes, you know, I could still move up here. Was able to do so, and now she gets to play the waiting game. The Women's Championships going to be held at this venue until July 10th. Madeline McDuff with a nice cover there, also a collegiate competitor at Alabama Birmingham. Takes care of the washout. Lori Eskew will look to do the same. She's a PWBA regional champion. Once again, as Emil mentioned, the pace is going to be pretty quick here throughout qualifying for each of the 3 days. 3 or 4 players on a pair, so it'll be quick, just 5 games. But all working towards the larger goal of making it into match play, the top 63. Along with defending champion Bernice Lim of Singapore. Then a brand new tournament. Pins drop. Just comes down. Total pinfall, 3-game matches. Beat your opponent, that's all you have to worry about. Doesn't matter if it takes 500 or 700. Just as long as you win. Stay in that winner's bracket as long as possible. Double elimination. Don't want to take the long road, but gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Here is Samantha Shaden up on lane 28, looking to make it 3 in a row. +7 after game number 1. Almost got to hustle and 2-pin. You can't see the plus and minus up there on the scoreboard. If you're unfamiliar with the plus-minus system, a par game here at the PWBA and most events is considered 200. So if you shot 200 game 1, your plus minus would be at 0. If you shot 205, you'd be at +5. If you shot 195, you'd be at -5. So obviously you want that number as high as you can get it on the plus side. Emil mentioned that Josie Ernest Barnes got off to a strong start. She's +55 after 1, 255 in the opener. She is 1 pair to our left. Shannon Pluhowski, a past Queens champion, 2006. Got to 248, I believe. Trying to find where she's at now. She's way down on 7 and 8. Off to a strong start, 3 in a row here in game 2. And of course, to follow along with your favorite competitors throughout the competition, we also have a live scoring link if they do not happen to be bowling on our feature pairs here. You can find that on pwba.com as well as bowl.com. Put it on about every tournament page possible just to make sure the access is there. So bowl.com/Queens. Find it in the 2017 results page, on the schedule page on pwba.com, and of course pwba.com/live. Rebecca O'Connor started with 4 in a row before that pesky 10-pin in frame number 5. Converts a spare 167 in the opener for her. So it does look like Josie Ernest Barnes, 255, leading the way after 1. Shannon Pluhowski, 248. Holly-Ann Johansson, 244. Claire Guerrero, 238. Melissa Van Dyke and Marissa Thomas at 234. We should be getting those up online shortly. That's actually scrolling here at the Raising Cane's River Center right now. So these ladies finding some success here in the early going. This 41-foot condition, had the opportunity to practice for an hour yesterday. With the way the format works, they'll get to hit the fresh twice and the burned once. So our next squad coming up, B squad, will be on the burn today, so they get the leftovers, if you will, from whatever happens on A squad. And then C squad later this evening will be back on fresh. So once again, that rotation will let them hit fresh twice. Definitely an out of bounds to the right today. Seen quite a few washouts already just here in the early going. A lot of 2-pin combinations on the right side. One pair to our left here on Bull TV on Extra Frame. Kayla Pashina after 233 in the opener. Strike and spare next 5. So we'll get to see her on lane 26 in a moment here. Looking to make it 6 in a row. Left side of your screen. There she is. Has that one run a little left to target, 3-6-10. But she's liking what she's seeing on the fresh. So we mentioned Lori Eskew, a PWBA regional champion. Happened in 2016 up in Federal Way, Washington. Bounces back after a few open frames there. Delivers a strike in frame 6. Tice delivers the strike in frame 7. So we see a few players playing a little bit more direct on this 41-foot pattern. A few kind of staying around the track a little bit further left. Keeping pretty tight angles regardless. Once again, not a lot of misroom to the right at the moment. Emily Peterson trips it out for 5 strikes in a row. Trip 4, right-hander's best friend.
What's your favorite line?
I have a lot of them, yes. Pretty much any trip for a right-hander is their best friend. Trip 2, trip 9. I don't send messengers, so I can't refer to that one. So it's only for the cool kids.
You mentioned not having a lot of misroom right, and I think that's been a pretty constant so far here in the early portion of the 2017 PWBA Tour season. There have been some demanding conditions. Week 1 was certainly no cakewalk. Week 2 was slightly lowered the level of difficulty, but very minuscule. Last week, more of the same, and then of course now at the USBC Queens. I mean, just the ability to just kind of throw right, essentially, has not been in place. So you might see, yeah, obviously they have to play what the pattern is suggesting. But I think from some of those earlier weeks on tour so far, players might be a little sharper in regards to understanding that, we haven't been able to really throw it right to begin with. So, the likelihood or the want to be able to do that here would still be, they would think twice still before consulting that type of strategy.
This is the best of the best. So you need those facets in your game. So Emily Peterson makes it another. Got to meet Emily for the first time last year at the Women's Championships in Las Vegas. She took over the all events lead coming out of West Fargo, North Dakota. Finding the right look here in game 2. No trip 7 for Samantha.
Zeb shot 286 last week. Nice game of the tour season at the front 10.
.286, that's been the big score so far?
That's been it, sir.
All right. Gonna make a bold prediction then. That will no longer be the high score at the end of this week.
That was my bold prediction last week. I thought we would have 300, almost. Shot from both sides there.
She just finished up at Weber, just graduated. Actually had to work her schedule around to make that Women's Championships appearance. Had few interview opportunities that she said, couldn't miss. So already looking ahead to the next chapter of life, but obviously being able to get the bowl still up there as well. But yeah, great, as you mentioned earlier, great collegiate career. 2016 champion at the ITCs. And we saw that team lose quite a few solid players, and a few of them who are out here on tour. Verdi Crawley, who just made a show last week. Daria Payuk, all part of that group in 2016 at Weber. So they had a new look. A lot of fresh faces. One of those players, one pair to our right at the moment, Caitlin Johnson, a freshman. So Taylor was kind of moved into the senior leadership role. He's one of the few seniors on the team and helped them get all the way back to the ITC championship match. Took it to 5 games. That actually just aired on CBS Sports Network on Monday. So if you didn't get a chance to see that, we got a few replays coming up. Great run at the ISCs as well here at the River Center. Peterson's string of strikes ends to start the 10th, 3-6-10. Shaden will get to 177. Rebecca O'Connor in the books, 210. That 10-pin took its sweet time falling down there for Madeline McDuff, but makes 3 in a row. 5 out of the last 6. Again, McDuff, competitor at Alabama Birmingham on the collegiate side. Good place for the, well, even better now, just a 7-pin, but 230 for Peterson to get back to plus. Excited Taylor there. I realize we're in game 2 of 15 of qualifying, but just getting to see so much of her in the past few weeks and just bowl so well here. Would not be surprised to see Taylor Bultice making a run here.
It's nothing like having a level of comfort, for sure.
She definitely has it in this venue, in this city. Get the 222. She'll be plus as well here in the early going. Gonna say, speaking of comfort level in this building, we also have a few of the McKendree Bearcats competing this week. We captured 2 national titles here at the Rivers Center back in April. First at the NCAA Women's Bowling Championships, followed by the ITC. They defeated Bultice and Weber International. Best of 5. It took all 5 games. It was an interesting final game. Does not mean it wasn't any less exciting, though. .221 for McDuff. For Lori Eskew, she is excited to not be on this pair anymore. We'll have to regroup here quickly, get some pins back. Shout out to Matt Russo tuning in. He's saying, Taylor, that's my partner at the Lucy this year. So definitely a formidable duo right there. Russo, Team USA and Junior Team USA member. Won the US Amateur back in Vegas in January to earn that spot on Team USA. Also part of the Weber International crew. He's going to be on TV in a few weeks as well, as the Weber International men take on the McKendree women, or the McKendree men, excuse me. We had the same two schools in both finals, so pardon me there.
Will still be a good match, though.
Still going to be a good match. Weber and McKendree facing off for the men's ITC title. That's going to be on CBS Sports Network May 30th, 8 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to get that in your DVR ahead of time. And of course, the Queens telecast coming up in just a few days, May 23rd, 10 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Network.
Full day on Tuesday. Full day. She kicks off our PWA Tour TV schedule. Queens will do that, and then the following 3 Tuesdays, June 6th, 13th, and 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern, the Cubica AMF Sonoma County Open. That will be followed by the PWBA Storm Sacramento Open. And then on the 20th, the PWBA Fountain Valley Open. All right, coming to the stage next, Marissa Thomas, Daria Kovalova, Megan McGinley, and Melissa Van Dyke on 27 and 28. Kaylin Carl, Katie Bishop, and Brandy Calderon on 29 and 30.
As we get ready for Game 3, Melissa Van Dyke. We talked about Taylor having some success at the Women's Championships. Melissa found some too yesterday. She teamed up with Heidi Sanders to take over the Diamond Doubles lead. Once again, the divisions, quite a few at the Women's Championships, named after gemstones, but Diamond the top division as far as average based. And Melissa, a very talented left-hander from Ohio, put on a cool show. We actually had a video of her 10th frame on the Women's Championships Facebook page as her and Heidi moved into the top spot. She's a +6 after 2 games. Dasha Kovalova +69, the collegiate standout at Wichita. Leading the way on our featured pairs through 2. Marissa Thomas will kick things off, lane 27.
Nice opening shot there for McGinley. Kovalova already at +69. It's kind of odd not seeing her a lot anymore. Of course, her Wichita State career so illustrious. But through a couple games, Based on the score, of course, nothing has changed.
Still waiting for that breakthrough performance here on the tour, though. Was a rookie last year, right?
He's bowled a few events. I believe she is a member this year. I would imagine that, of course, the next stop would be Wichita, which is on the schedule. That certainly could be a stop for her.
Definitely familiar with the venue.
They'll be at North Rock Lanes. Clara Guerrero. Strike third frame after a couple of opens.
Taking a quick glance around, it looks like Holly-Ann Johansson is going to be leading after 2. Looks like she got to plus 73, and she's now down on lanes 7 and 8. Shannon Pluhowski, 2006 champ, plus 60. Mentioned Dasha already at plus 69. Josie Ernest Barnes. Still gonna have to get used to saying that. Plus 43. Those are some of the bigger scores here in the early going. Still waiting for game 2 standings, but just based off the plus minus up there. Quick first look.
Kovalova strike in the second. Again, this is A squad, B squad, and C squad. B and C, of course, will begin a little bit later.
I believe it's 1 p.m. Eastern, noon local time for B squad. Obviously no re-oil being on the burn. Then 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 local time here in Baton Rouge. For C squad, going to take a little bit longer to start up because we need to wax them lanes. Of course, a big shout out to Kegel, our official lane maintenance provider here, as well as one of our gold industry partners. Are you going to be okay over there?
I am. I'm sorry.
All right. You weren't ready for that, were you?
No, that was much needed.
Of course, a big shout out to Kegel. As you mentioned, the official lane maintenance provider here for the PWBA Tour and USBC short duration events, as well as the Open and Women's Championships. Eric Pearson on hand, making sure everything is good to go. Of course, a shout out to all of our gold industry partners. Why is that so hard for me to say this morning? Columbia 300, Hammer and Storm. Nice shot from Melissa there in frame 3. Our first look from the left side. We do have scores updated through 2 online now. May have to refresh your browser, but it's up there, I promise you. Holly-Ann Johansson from Wichita, Kansas, 473, leads the way. Dasha Kovalova, 469. Shampuhowski, 460. Missy Parkin, one pair to our left, 449. Kayla Pashina from Minnetonka, Minnesota, 446. That's our top 5. Josie Ernest Barnes at plus 43. Madeline McDuff, who we just saw in game 2, plus 37. Jennifer King, plus 36. Kelly Kulick, plus 33. And Ashley Galante rounds out the top 10 at plus 31. Jennifer King, another player, found success in this venue just a few days ago at the Women's Championships, taking over the all events lead at the event. 2,046, her 9-game total. If you're unfamiliar with Jennifer King, as unfortunately I was, and found out later, you may know her as Jennifer Wright, collegiate standout at Pikeville, Player of the Year, Junior Gold Champion, former Team USA and Junior Team USA member. So she actually took a few years off after college to start raising a family. So she's got a little guy at home, Graham, and started bowling again about 3 years ago. And really started getting into it 2 years ago, and now she's back here competing amongst the best.
Bowled a couple tour events last season, and actually really bowled well in Lexington. If I'm not mistaken, just missed match play. But it was great to see her back out last season and now continuing to have success as continues to bowl some high-level events. And certainly she should, because she is a great player. Good-looking family. They might be Cubs fans, though.
Nothing wrong with that.
Depends on who you ask. Clearly not me.
Come on.
Although there is a W flag currently. I don't know if it's currently waving because I don't have an eye on it. But at my home, someone put a W flag up.
Fly it
in front of the house. That's all I can really say about it.
Sounds like you keep company with really great people, then, from what I'm hearing. So
that I do. I can.
That's how I interpret that.
To the character of the individual. But that's what happens when you get domesticated. Folks just think they can fly W's and laugh at you because you're on the wrong end of that bet.
Oh, that's fantastic on so many levels. I'm enjoying this so much right now.
There's good video of it, too. Did I not show you this video?
I recall it.
Okay. It's not good enough to show an extra frame. It's not that relevant, but if it becomes relevant at some point.
Yes, the relevant issue for it, for what we're doing here, it's quite minimal, but regardless, the video, it's a good one.
Shout out to my loving fiance, Shanice Graham.
Nice conversion there on the 3-7 by Melissa Van Dyke. Not particularly enjoying the left lane so far, but 2 for 2 on the right lane. She'll be stepping up there on a moment. Over on 37 and 38 is Sandra Gongora. Looking to make up some ground here, minus 40 through 2 games. But after starting with a spare, she has rattled off 6 consecutive strikes. As soon as I say that, she does not strike. There's a 9 count in the 8th frame.
So far, it looks to be a lot of ways to attack the pattern. Aaron mentioned that a little bit earlier, but we've seen players still play a little bit more direct. We have seen some that have played straight up the boards, straight up 5, for example, 3-4 as well. Kind of Taylor Boltice is doing that. Now, Missy Parkin started off the game doing that as well. I think she just made a brief move.
Now, is that something the first few weeks of the tour, was that a little different? It seemed like we saw, especially thinking back to that first week, we saw a lot of players kind of, you had to get left from the right side. So is this kind of the first week where they've had, obviously you've been there, I haven't as much. Can only catch extra frames so much when Matt Cannizzaro lets me take some time off. So is this kind of the first week they've had the opportunity to attack the pattern at multiple angles, or have you seen them kind of pigeonholed into a certain area of the lane? Or
No, I thought last week really was, in comparison to the first two weeks, last week allowed players to kind of be more comfortable, if you will. They could play certain areas, and at least that's what we thought, and especially initially when we took a look at the pattern and watched practice, and you saw players being able to play the outside, kind of similar to what we've seen Missy and Taylor do. But as the week or the weekend went on, less players were outside essentially, and more continued to kind of get in and move left. Not as drastic as we saw the first 2 weeks, really. But someone like, Kelly Kulick, who was the top overall seed at the Fountain Valley event, which was last week, she was able to get left and really be comfortable. She could get around it a little bit, and so no surprise in the regards of where she finished in the standings, because she bowled extremely well. And so I thought last week was kind of really that first week. Week one was certainly a welcome to the tour, or welcome back to the tour for the players. And for those who had not been on tour in the previous 2 seasons, it was certainly a welcome to the PWBA. 40 feet, 1-1, demanding, hit the 1-3, hit the 1-2. Spare shooting was a premium for sure. And, I thought it was a good way, albeit tough for sure. I'm not going to say it wasn't hard, but it was a good way to kind of get back into competition, because it did a lot to you, not only physically, but it forced you to kind of get back into the game mentally quicker. You had to be able to stay, not necessarily in the moment, because you have to do that, but the physical toll, certainly could match the mental toll, and that's where you had to really game manage.
Some great insight there. Recapping the first few weeks here on the PWBA tour, and the demand, attention to detail.
I would say that, and this is a true statement, at least 5 players tell me that was the hardest pattern they've ever bowled. And so I said, well, good thing I'm not bowling. Because it would have been a lot worse.
Well, Melissa finally makes the right adjustment there on a 27 and gets rewarded with an 8-pin. So good shot there, finding the 1-2 now. Yeah, toughest patterns they've ever faced. Nice shot there, Katie Bishop.
I was a little surprised when they said it. I mean, these are, someone like Rocio told me. That was one player. Talked about it afterwards. She's clearly been a top international player for a very long time, has bowled many events. But, that just goes to show you Danielle McEwen had some similar, sentiments. C2, top international player. So it really it demanded a lot from the players. But again, if you can make a spare and keep it close. I heard Rocio saying no one was really no one could really get into kind of their comfort zone or play their A game, so to speak. And you had to definitely get down into the toolbox and utilize some hand positions and everything that was necessary to get to the 1-3.
I think going back to that week and even the week after, when did Liz made the first show, right? Was that the first week?
The second.
Second week. But that was another event where, and I believe the pattern wasn't disclosed for that one, correct? So that,
Yes.
we still don't know what we bowled on that week. But, and getting to transcribe some of the notes that you took down, just, you know, listening to Liz talk about how, you know, this is the reason she puts in the extra time was when, because A game wasn't there, B game wasn't there, C game wasn't there. That was like D game for her, getting out of her comfort zone, but being able to just know she has it in there and know she has the tools to make it happen, even though, you know, not ideal. You know, we obviously know what Liz can do when she is playing up the boards, playing pretty direct, and that took her way out of that. But obviously the Hall of Famer that she is knows how to make that work regardless. And just the fact that they got challenged enough to have to pull those tricks out of the bag, if you will, proves why they're the best of the best.
Yeah, that's some of the other tidbits from this season so far. I mean, players certainly were looking for and wanted some more challenges. So of course, pattern difficulty, not knowing the pattern, obviously creates challenges right there in itself. So Sacramento pattern not released. I don't know it either. Mentioned that during the event, of course, but I will find out just like everyone else here in a few weeks.
Dasha Kovalova looking for her second double. The players opening up the lanes a little bit more, getting that ball around 12 at the arrows. Gets it to come back. And connects. This being one of our pairs with 4 players. Most of the other pairs getting pretty close to finishing up. A few even switching over to game number 4. It's Marissa. Trips to 4. Seen a lot of 230s and 240s out there here in game 3 across this 44 lane venue. Shannon Pluhowski getting ready to start game number 4, plus 86. Holly Ann Johansson, our leader after 2 games. She's going to drop a few pins. Max at 190. Josie Ernest Barnes at plus 89, 246 in game 3 for her. .202 for Kaylin Carl. Katie Bishop gets to 174. Brandy Calderon 187 to finish up on 29 and 30.
It's tough to get comfortable these days, Aaron Smith.
It's important to be comfortable. Today we're going to have 15 games of qualifying.
That is correct.
Over the course of 3 squads, 5 games apiece. A squad underway, B squad starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon local time here in Baton Rouge. And we'll cap off the day starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 local time, with a C squad. That'll be the schedule for today and the following 2 days before we get into the double elimination match play bracket. That's when the fun really starts.
I'd like to thank all of our viewers. Say hello. Daniel Bredak watching from Saudi Arabia. Hello, Daniel. Daniel has been a constant viewer on Extra Frame, the PWBA Tour season thus far, from many hours away. Well, big thanks to Daniel. Also, Yvonne Dunnett from Oak Lawn. As you know, folks, feel free to drop us a comment on our Live Now post via Facebook and Twitter. Let us know where you are watching from, who you're rooting for, perhaps.
Mr. Williams. I'll bite. I haven't caught this segment before.
Yeah.
Here on Extra Frame. So, what's going on here with this live now?
Well, essentially, this is a way to create interaction with our viewers, and basically a quote-unquote chat room.
Very cool.
It's also a good way to confirm that at least one person is indeed watching and or listening.
How about that?
How about it? How about Jennifer King striking in the second? Jen King, Jackie Carbonetto and Krista Sant on 29 and 30. Holly Harris to our right, 31 and 32, along with Ashley Crowder and Karen Boyd. Caitlin Simpson, Stephanie Schwartz, and Shannon Pulowski prepared to our left.
Marissa Thomas finishes up with 192, 158 for Megan McGinley. Alyssa Van Dyke working on a double, crossed over last shot. So we'll see if she can cash that in, make it 3 in a row. Once again, finishing up 3, starting game 4 on 29-30. Pair to our right. Kovalova gets 201 with the strike on the fill ball. She'll get to plus 70. One final shot here from Melissa Van Dyke. Finishes with the last 5, gets a 217. She'll get to plus 23. Looks like Sandra Gongora, Jeannie Franklin, and Sierra Kanimoto all eagerly awaiting their time on 27 and 28 coming up next here for game 4.
Looks like Aaron Smith has put on some type of garment. Maybe he's a little chilly. It is a little cool inside the venue. Temperature always at the premium for the bowlers. It's shot there again from Jen King.
I didn't catch that entire statement. I just caught the chilly part. So,
well, I said it looks like you've put on some form of garment to increase body warmth.
I did garment up, if you will.
Not to be confused with Garmin. You're not looking for directions. Garment. Jeannie Franklin with a cool jersey. Makes me want to go on vacation. I see some palm trees, perhaps what could be sand. Maybe a grill. It's party time.
It's party time. Or it's because you're cold and you're fantasizing about relaxing at the beach.
Good shot there from Gongora.
She shot 248 last game to get to +8. Standings up now online after game number 3. Josie Ernest Josie Ernest Barnes. There we go. Back into the top spot. 255, 188, 246 for 689. So she's at +89. Shannon Pluhowski +86. Missy Parkin +75. Dasha Kovalova, who we just saw last game, +70. Kelly Kulik +69. Holly-Ann Johansson, who led after 2, drops to 6th place at +63. Kayla Pashina +52. Stephanie Schwartz in 8th at +47. Tish Johnson, the Hall of Famer, moves in to 9th place after 242 in game 3 at +45. And Katie-Ann Sop Schroeder rounds out the top 10 at +44.
What game are we in, sir?
We're in game 4.
About to.
Time flies when you're having fun. And also 3 on a pair.
Hello to John from Oak Lawn, Illinois as well. John checking in. One thing I've noticed in regards to our our normal posts to let our viewers know there is something live. You get a chance to see some who our regular viewers are. And John mentioned Yvonne earlier as well, along with Daniel. All regular viewers of Extra Frame and the PWBA Tour. And it certainly doesn't go unnoticed. We appreciate it. Generally in this type of event, when there are multiple squads, we get players who log in to see how things are going as well. So we know more than likely a few players will check in at some point today. So there's some players watching. We anxiously await your arrival to the Raising Cane's River Center.
Well, I'm sure the reason they tune in early is not to see where other people are playing, but to hear the sultry tones of Emil Williams Jr.
That's definitely not the reason. That's a by default. I want to see what's going on the lanes, but by default, I've got to listen to this guy.
Oh, they can turn the sound off technically.
That's true too. You're right.
I think they volume at full blast, turn it up to 11. It's a true story. Yesterday, Emil and I were. We had to go to Circle Bowl for just a quick site visit for the senior queens, and so we don't have rental cars, so we Ubered. And on the way back, the gentleman who drove us back to the Raising Cane's River Center distinctly knew that you were a broadcast personality based off your voice alone. Wow. So, just saying, the voice.
But see, here's the thing with that. There's some backstory to that, a little bit. Because we don't really know if he would have known that or would have guessed had I not said what I said prior to him saying what he said. You see what I'm saying?
See, you're just trying to make my story worse. So, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. That's fine.
Yes, you are correct, but
You want to be that guy?
Come on, guy.
I will say that's not the first time, but it generally is, for example, yesterday, it went, this gentleman was he was a referee or is a referee. And like anyone else, he's trying to move up the ladder and would like to be a referee at the Division I NCAA level. And so I said, hey, I used to broadcast a lot of high school basketball games. You encounter a lot of refs. Just, trying to see if there's a connection at some point somehow. Maybe I've met a referee some point down the road. And then after saying that I did call high school basketball, then his comment that Aaron mentioned was then said, and so. But maybe he just wasn't comfortable at that point enough to say that I was had the broadcast type voice.
You certainly do.
So does Aaron Smith, though.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know about that, but one thing I do know, Missy Parkin was settling into a big game number 4. 7 out of 8 strikes before a split in the 9th frame over on 35 and 36. Trying to see what that split is from here, but
looks like a 2-7.
2-7, yeah, it almost has to be unless something has to get respotted. But
the old 2-7 for the righties.
Hall of Famer Tish Johnson out of the gate strong. Mentioned that she moved into the top 10, 242 last game. She's now started off with 5 in a row on 33 and 34. Holly Ann Johansson also on that pair, also in the top 10. Spare 4-bagger for her.
Good spare for Missy. They convert on the 2-7. Jen King. I almost called her Jen Wright. Jen King. Now we got to make sure we stay on top of on our names for Josie, for example, because I don't want Kyle coming up to the booth. So I gotta be on point with that for the rest of the season.
So we just can't make it easier. JEB.
I did call her. I did say that actually yesterday.
All right. Does it have holding
Jeb.
power? I think you gotta go initials there.
Jeb doesn't work. JEB. Football. It did. Flat 10 there for Gongora.
I was going to say, she got that last shot out on lane 28, just about as far, probably even a little bit further right. And was able to catch enough of the 1-3 to mix him up, to give her what turned into be 3 strikes in a row, but lost a little bit too much energy at the back end there. 6 doesn't do its job. Now she's left with a single pin conversion here in the 7th. And the miscue.
Sometimes you got to shake that one off there. Nice game from Jen King, 224. Includes the back 5. Jeannie Franklin. And spare if Tony is watching. We'll say hello to Tony and all of the fans in support of DFW, or from DFW, I should say. Franklin's running the Bowling News.
Great publication there. They do a great job. Look forward to getting that email every week. You can also pick up the Bowling News in paper form as well. So Missy, after picking up the 2-7 in frame number 9, doubles in the 10th, so she's going to be in the 250. So she's going to be, depending on count, plus 130 or better. Champuhowski got to plus 118. Josie Ernest Barnes was leading after 3 games, was at plus 189. She goes 227 to get to plus 116. So by all accounts, Missy Parkin will be moving into the top spot. Finishes with 257. That'll be plus 132. All wrapped up with game 4 on 29 and 30. Jeffrey King, 224. Jackie Carbonetto, 213. Some struggles for Krista Sant, 155. Foundation frame underway. $27.28. Jeannie Franklin getting ready to start her 10th frame in just a moment. And another 10-pin on the right lane for Gongora.
Don't forget the Tish Johnson update, but had the front 6, 8 spare in the 7th. By the way, Aaron.
Yes.
Not to, well, I hate to do this, but did have a player, a current player, and a good one. In fact, a great one. Check in and said and confirmed your statement. I hate to do this because this would mean that you would be correct. A shot there, but not the best break for Jeannie Franklin. That is, as far as the reason people tune in, they go to watch and or listen. They still listen to me.
See, I knew it.
I don't believe her.
I knew it.
Oh, make it, Jeannie Franklin.
Nice cover there, Jeannie.
215.
215. I'll get her to minus 10. I knew it.
I don't agree. People tune in to watch the greatest ladies bowl, and you know, I'm just here, do what I do.
I'm not saying that's not part of it too, but the sultry tones.
The sultry tones. Here's okay. Here, all right. Here it is. Here it is. All right. As we watch Sandra there, she's just a little bit out of sorts here in those last couple frames. So throughout I mentioned the Live Now post where I encourage viewers to spare there for Sierra to check in and just let us know how things are going, where they're watching, etc. And through that, you know, we had 3 California stops, of course, preceding our first major here in Baton Rouge. And last week in Fountain Valley, someone gave me the old tap on the shoulder. And I turned around. I was at the front counter. And they said, instantly knew me. Instantly. Said, hey, Emil, how's it going? Listen to you all the time. You know, thanks for all you do. Like, you know, I said, hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for your support. I'm sorry. Can I have your name? And he said his name was Troy Fisher. I said, oh, Troy. I knew exactly who he was because he had commented on the Live Now post 2 consecutive weeks and said he was rooting for Missy Parkin, and he was a student of Missy, and he was coming out to watch Missy in person, his coach.
Very cool.
At Fountain Valley. But
very cool.
He just said, his first words were, hey, Emil, thanks. Pleasure to meet you in person. That happened to me 3 times, actually, last week. I will say that. Still doesn't mean that they tuned in to listen to me. But because I was there.
Fair enough.
They wanted to say hello.
A man of the people.
I met a lot of people in person, actually. By the way, that player was Shannon O'Keefe. Now, she's a very nice person. So I'm going to just chalk that up to her high character. Those kind words that she mentioned. But speaking of meeting people, I did meet her father in person. I talk to Don often.
Yeah, Don, always a visitor in the chat on
Absolutely.
Bowl TV as well as on social media, PWBA.
Now, the world will be complete once you meet that one person that says, hey, I'm not really feeling it. I would say, hey, you know what? I appreciate it. Thank you for your words. Thanks for your support of the PWBA. Because not everybody can like you, right?
I don't know. You're betting pretty close to 1,000, I think.
Hey, listen, I've called enough games in my day. I've called enough games. Basically, as long as you got the information right, it's generally okay. Can't just be saying wrong stuff. I tuned in to watch Aaron Smith, though, and listen. Last time we were here, someone dropped the Pat Summerall, John Madden.
Someone did do that.
The combo. It's a Hall of Fame duo right there.
That is quality. That's a quality quality comparison. Definitely. Definitely enjoyed that one.
190 for the Gongora and 202 for Sierra Kanemoto. Here is Gabby Mayfield. Starts with a strike here as we welcome a new trio of ladies to the stage on 29 and 30, along with Gabby, Kayla Ovesny, and Katie Ann Sop Schroeder. Gabby doing some cool things. I mentioned this last week in her home state of California, but now the proud owner of, I believe it's called Mount Mesa Lanes, 8-lane bowling center in her hometown of Lake Isabella, California. She grew up and bowled. And now I believe at the age of 23, she owns a bowling center.
How about that? Very cool.
Big things popping. Open.
Gotta say, at the 8-lane center, that's we had a few of those back home.
And where is home, Aaron Smith?
Highland, Indiana.
Highland, Indiana.
The 8-lane center, however, was in Griffith, Indiana, which is made popular in the movie A Christmas Story.
Well, how about that?
Which Jason Thomas's cousin, who's sitting right next to you, starred in.
6 degrees of separation.
Absolutely. Had a little 8-lane center bowl arena. It's got a new name now. I don't like the new name as much, so I'm not going to say it. I'm still going to call it Bowl Arena. With a little 8-lane center, above ground ball returns. It was tough. It was tough. We went like 20 years without a 300 there.
Wowzers.
And then it happened at the Thursday Night League at Bolden. It wasn't me. But Jason Tripp was the gentleman who did so. That was pretty cool, though. Yeah, good size center. Very, very homey feel to it. So best of luck to Gabby and her endeavors over there in California.
That's some really good news in general, but especially you take into account what she went through in her family last year. The wildfires in her area. Good to see that happening for her. She can get some things going on the lanes. Well, she's got the left lane down so far. 2 strikes here on lane 29. Right lane 9 spare. Almost complete with A squad qualify. It does go by relatively quickly. Looks like Josie Ernest Barnes, JAB in the house, continuing to light the scoreboard up here. 227.
Nice shot there from Kayla. Part of the long-standing history at Wichita State now. Katie Ann converts the spare. We saw her strike quite a bit, not yesterday, but a few days ago. Once again, bowling the women's championships. A lot of competitors getting out here early to get a chance at the WC before things started. Katie took over the singles lead for a day. Shot 684, so was hoping some of that momentum would carry over here to Queens. Plus 76 through a 4, so not too shabby. Still looking for that first strike here on 29 and 30. Just got an email from our man here in Baton Rouge, Kent Lowe.
My man.
Saying things are looking good a few miles away over at LSU. Gonna be stopping in later today. Kent, the man of the people around Baton Rouge.
He is.
Working for LSU as their senior associate communications director, then does a lot of work for the Advocate, the local paper as well. Gets a bowling column. So he's had quite a bit to write about here just in the past few months between the NCAA Women's Championship, ITCs and ISCs, USBC Women's Championships, and now the Queens.
You know, they don't make them like Ken anymore.
Have to agree.
They really don't. You know, that's totally off topic, but that's just kind of something that, you know, we're still in the considered young people these days, although our ages continue to increase. But how we can create and help create individuals like Kent who just have a love for our sport, want to cover it, and not only cover it, but cover it well on top of what he already does.
That's the, I was going to bring that up if you didn't, but that was one of the craziest things ever was when we were doing some of the TV shows for, I want to say the ITC and ISC, that he was actually like covering that while also covering a golf tournament that LSU was competing at. I think it was a women's golf tournament, and yeah, he was writing his story just in the middle of matches, you know, see what would happen for the frame, jot it down, go back to the story, watch the spare conversion, go back and forth, doing the whole thing. Piece of cake.
One day, I asked Kent, maybe he can take us on a tour of LSU, perhaps the athletic offices. That'd be cool. The only problem with that would be, when will we ever have time to do that?
I don't know, maybe we could just trade for him for a day. We'll take over his gig and he can.
I think that'd be awesome.
Could take over extra frame and.
Debbie Ayers, Holly-Ann Johansson, and Trista Kimms on 27 and 28. Holly-Ann was just here as well, feels like. Although there was been a few weeks at this point, but not really that long. Considering, speaking of the Intercollegiate Team Championships, really good shot there from Jen King. She's on 23, big double after back-to-back opens in frames 3 and 4. A lot of former, I should say former and really recent collegiate players competing. And some, of course, still competing collegiately as well. When you say former collegiate player, you have to be kind of specific these days because there are so many, obviously, who have taken that step. And there are still many who are, again, still bowling, still competing, or fresh out of college. First miss on the left lane for Gabby. Take a look across the venue here. Those of you who have just kind of getting the look and feel of the venue for the first time. And this is the home of the USBC Women's Championships, where Aaron Smith is the manager of all things communications.
Overseen by Matt Canzaro.
Overseen.
But I appreciate that effort, though. But however, I do deal directly with the staff here at the Women's Championships, so I am primarily located in Las Vegas with the Open Championships, but the show must go on whether I'm here, there, or anywhere. So we have a great staff on site here helping us out this year. Scott Simon and Ryan Navarro. Appreciate their hard work. Helping us get the news out about this great event. We do have scores updated through 4 online. Missy Parkin moves into the lead at plus 132. Sham Pulowski in second, plus 118. Josie Ernest Barnes, plus 116 in third. Holly Ann Johansson here on our featured pair is in fourth at plus 107. Those are the only players better than plus 100. Dasha Kovalova at plus 83 in fifth. Tish Johnson, the Hall of Famer, plus 78 in sixth. Katie Ann Sopschroeder also on the featured pair, having some struggles this game, but she entered in seventh place, plus 76. Stephanie Schwartz in eighth, plus 73. Jennifer King, plus 66. And Madeline McDuff out of Katy, Texas, representing Alabama Birmingham, the collegiate scene, plus 60.
I just got one of the best text messages I've ever received. I had to share it. I hope he doesn't mind. This text is from my friend and father-type figure and personal coach. I've known him half my life, literally at this point, half my life. His name is Will Clark. Who coaches a lot of great individuals these days. And he sent me a text and said he was watching, and he said, "I sound good, and this is the most he's ever heard me talk, ever." And which is kind of true, because when I was even kind of now, but when I was younger, for sure, I was a pretty shy kid. I know for many that's hard to believe at this point. Those that know me know probably I'm anything but and like to have fun, and I do a lot of singing and those kind of things, and recite movie lines and quotes and shows and all kinds of stuff. Aaron is smiling because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I didn't really, I was just kind of a yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Unless it involved eating. Then there was an astounding yes, like with an exclamation point. Like, are you hungry? Yes. But thanks, Will. Appreciate that. The doc.
Just trying to get over you being quiet.
I'm telling you.
I'm thrown off by that.
I'll tell you this. When he arrives, if we have some time, I'll have him share a story or two with you in regards to that. I spent a lot of time in his pro shop. And there could have been silence. I just watched a lot at first. And then, once you get comfortable, start to ask more questions. Just off camera there, saw Sabrina Duncan Rose competing. Sabrina, prior to the tour ending, was the last Rookie of the Year selected. On the PWBA Tour. She will kind of enter your screen ever so slightly on the left. She is the head coach at Texas Southern University and happened to bring one of her players this week along to compete. Ganesha Wallace is in the field, getting some great experience. The SWAC Bowler of the Year was Ganesha this past season. She's from the Chicagoland area, south suburbs. Nice shot there from Hansen. Two Shockers competing across from each other here this game. Kayla Ovesny, also part of the Shocker program. Kayla's from Norman, Oklahoma. That's her hometown. My guess would be, aside from her Wichita State allegiance at this moment, probably enjoys some Oklahoma Sooners football and athletics in general.
It's a bold prediction there.
Cotton.
We're starting to settle in, getting some scores in here for game number 5. Shamplowski, at the moment, the clubhouse leader. She finished with 223 to get to plus 141. Some struggles for Missy Parkin. She shot 180 to get to drop to plus 112. So Josie Ernest over on 37 and 38. Still getting to the 240s this game. So I believe she is the only other competitor who can really make a run at the top spot. Josie still has 247 out here there for game 5. She's actually up in the 8th frame right now. A few pairs to our right. Said and done on 29 and 30. Gabby Mayfield, big 228 to finish things up. Kayla Vesney, 167. Katie Ann Sop-Schroeder, 147. Foundation frame just about underway on 27 and 28. Debbie Ayers for her first double. Made a big move in after some early struggles that game. Looking to finish up strong. Josie Ernest spared in the 9th frame. She can add 40 pins onto 187. That would be 227.
Astute math.
227 plus, or 27 over plus 16 would be 43. Shampluhowski in the books at plus 141. Nothing else too wacky happening out there. We'll get to wait and see. It's down to Shannon or Josie. Now, Josie missed the last stop for that wedding, correct? Possibly two?
She missed 2 stops.
She missed 2 stops, so.
Yes.
So an argument, if she like ends up leading the Queens, or like, wouldn't that be like she should have got on Kyle to make things happen sooner? Like, I mean, you can't argue with the success of.
But yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, she did get the first strike in the 10th. Up now, second one. Looks like she went through the nose, 3-6-10. So it looks like Shannon will hold on as top or early leader here at the 2017 USBC Queens. And with this final shot, our coverage for the opening round will conclude. So 202 for Holly Ann Johansson to lead the way. She gets a plus 109. All right, that's Kelly Kulik, plus 22. She has one shot remaining. And that will actually be the final, well, almost the final shot. We got one of the pairs with 4 players, way down on 7 and 8. Kelly must have ran into some troubles there. She is a little bit higher up in the standings. Game or two ago. Let's see what happened. 153 in game 4 for Kelly. She'll gain a few of those pins back. Finishes with a 211 to get to plus 33.
And now that will
conclude it. We got 2 more shots in there. All right.
All right, folks. We will be back with you at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central, for our continuing coverage of the 2017 USBC Queens. Round 1 will continue, and the B Squad players will grace the lanes, and we will have it for you here on Extra Frame. So for Aaron Smith, Jason Thomas, all of our staff here at both PWBA and USBC, my name is Emil Williams Jr. We'll see you in just a little bit on the other side. You are watching the USBC Queens. This is Bowl TV on Extra Frame.